I went upstairs to put the baby to bed, came back down to them going at it on the couch. Like and subscribe for daily videos. What is your accidentally caught your spouse cheating horror story? Not me, but a medical resident who I met on rotation recently. One of the nicest guy I ever met, super intelligent and hardworking, and training to be a trauma surgeon by humble as they come. He had been married for 2 years to his wife. One night he gets off a 30-hour call early and heads home to surprise his wife with some flowers and her favorite dessert. It was the anniversary of the day they first met. Only to find her in bed with a random dude. He was so exhausted and confused, he didn't know what to do and just left and went back to the hospital. I saw him at 5 a.m., sitting in the parking lot, hunched over crying. He didn't even have his phone with him, he was just sitting there. Man, nothing breaks your heart more than seeing a grown man cry. It's not something you see often. We called his dad up and he came and picked him up. The guy ended up taking a leave from his residency. Turns out, it wasn't the wife's first time sleeping around. Hope he gets back on his feet, he will make an amazing physician. Had a really close group of friends who would always prank each other. One of my mates found out the Facebook password of another, so while on Skype the whole call, included myself, logged into his Facebook account, being 7 people, to make a stupid status. At the same time, my partner of 5 years was messaging him on Facebook about how good sex was last night and about meeting up again. College girlfriend and I lived together for a year after I realized she would always have her phone on silent or just plain ignore calls from Jennifer. One day I write down the number and call it a week later. It ends up being her other boyfriend who she had never broken up with before she came to college. Neither of us knew about each other and she had been visiting him when she went home to see her parents on some weekends and breaks. Broke up soon after and her mom said that sometimes you just have to accept things and how I owed her an apology for breaking up with her. It gets worse, but that was the gist. How does it get worse? She was a stripper, no strip clubs in Tally so they come to you, who I found out banged a client and some frat dude, cheated on me a week before my birthday after I had bought us tickets for a cruise, didn't find out until after. Had a weird relationship with her female best friend who I found out she was fucking also even though she called me crazy for even suggesting that something was up. Invited me over to talk a day after she got her own place and found a condom wrapper in the bed. Later found out she had fucked her neighbor the first day she was there. She also borrowed a ridiculous amount of money that she never paid back. She ended up reaching out to me years later when she moved to Texas after her new guy beat her and got her evicted from her office. A friend of hers had said she could get weed from her cousin, so she started chilling with some fake thugs out here. Called me at 4 a.m. because they had gotten pulled over and the guys didn't have licenses but had guns and drugs with them. She said she had to shove the drugs up her snatch and wanted me to come get her. I said call a cab. A week later she tells me her grandpa wanted to see me, he lived close and he remembered as the boyfriend, so I go by and she's obviously fucked up on pills but no one notices. She said the guys she had gotten pulled over with were giving her free pills because they felt sorry for her and the pulled over situation. I tell her that's not how that works and nothing is for free and to stop hanging out with them. Of course she says she know what she's doing. A few days later I get another phone call with her screaming, crying, begging me to come get her at some budget motel. Apparently she kept hanging out with the dudes and they drugged her and took turns with her and then left her. She said she passed out and woke up naked. I freak out and say call the cops, but she just wants me to smoke her out and take her to her car. I told her I didn't have any and I'd just take her to either her house or car. She freaks out and starts screaming at the top of her lungs, punching my car and windows while we're driving down the highway. Longer story short. She left a week later to go back to the old BF who beat her, got pregnant, he dumped her and she moved to NYC to be closer to his other baby mama and hopes he'll be forced to deal with her too. Found my wife's notebook. Written on the first page was a 10-step plan detailing how she was going to leave me for another guy. I turned it into one step. Boyfriend finally convinces me to have a threesome after months of begging. I finally agree and our mutual friend comes over. Things get hot and heavy and when he starts effing her he moans, "Damn, you feel even better than usual." Everyone freezes. He tries to tell me that he was thinking about my pee while effing her and that it just felt differently, but she felt so guilty that she confessed on the spot and begged me to forgive her. We don't really talk anymore, but last I heard she had been dating my ex for over a year. What the F? Obligatory, not me, but a friend. And I've posted this story twice before. Early 2000s, my friend's husband was deployed to Iraq. Together, they had a 10-year-old son and a happy marriage. One day, while he was deployed, I am at home when another one of our friends calls and screams, "Holy shit, turn on the news right now." I turn it on to watch a human interest story about a fundraiser at a high school 30 miles away. They're doing Relay for Life or something, and as a surprise to one of the participants, they had her husband and father of her 2 grade school children do a video call from Iraq, and displayed it on the football jumbotron. There on our local news is my friend's husband, telling another woman and 2 kids how he loves them and can't wait to get back home to them. The news eats it up, about what a great guy he is. That night, our group of friends convened and decided how we would tell her. I was nominated, so the next day I had to sit her down and tell her what we saw. She called the news station, and they were happy to let her come in and watch the story. They were also incredibly apologetic. Story has a somewhat crappy ending, I'm afraid. She called him out on his BS, they started divorce proceedings, and he went on to legally marry the mother of his other kids, and mostly ignored his son from the first marriage. Me and my girlfriend were long distance and she had a habit of going quiet sometimes. She'd been texting me for the last few weeks but had made excuses not to come visit. I went to a party that my friend had organized. I met a friend of his who told me he had a new girlfriend. I was surprised he hadn't mentioned her, so I asked who she was. This lady introduced me to my girlfriend. She'd told everyone that we broke up, and had been dating my friend for about a month. She didn't bother to tell me. Edit, I posted this, went to bed, and didn't expect it to be so popular. I'll try and reply/explain today. One of my former co-workers loaded in a SD card with a scanned project file on it. He put it into the conference room PC. We were treated to naked pics of his wife fucking another guy. We were just stunned. This was in a senior budgetary meeting with the outside accountants and auditors. And he was sitting right there and we were looking at his wife and another guy going at it. I reached over and shut the projector off. Nobody said anything. He got up and walked out and drove off in his car. Left his phone and laptop sitting on the table. He wound up driving to his parents' house 3 states away. He was gone for a week. My cousin was visiting us for a long weekend. She and I were super close, like sisters. I went upstairs to put the baby to bed, came back down to them going at it on the couch. So that was fun. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for daily videos.